I'll briefly describe to you the efforts that we have taken in terms of looking at advanced technologies and implementing them in various parts of the country, various parts of India, which are affected with water quality related issues. Largely, our focus has been utilizing nano materials for removal of these contaminants from water. Water treatment is an old subject area. However, we have been looking at how new materials could be developed, new materials could be deployed to address the issues of availability of clean water in the rural area. So this we call this form as hydro material. Our focus is on water, and our focus is clean materials or green materials for providing clean water. So this is how a typical treatment plant looks like when we set it up in the rural environment. The way it works is that right now, almost all parts of country is undergoing a tremendous transformation in terms of providing clean water. So now the main agenda of current administration in the country is to provide clean water at the household level, even in the rural areas. So that is a program which is a 5-year-old program. And right now we are in the 2nd or 3rd year of that program. So we are also participating in that program. In one such initiative, we were asked to provide clean water in the area, in the state of Punjab, which is in the northern part of the country. So the way the scheme works is that you have a water supply scheme, which is centrally located in a village where you have a pumping station, you have a reservoir, which is at staging height of about 20 meters. And from there, the water supply is done across the village. So what they found was that water quality is affected. It has presence of arsenic, it has presence of iron, it has presence of uranium, it has presence of fluoride. So all those contaminants are regularly discovered in the groundwater. Hence, there is a need for providing solutions which can address those contaminants so that clean water supply can be made to the villages. So my team, you are already aware of, you have already spoken to Professor Pradeep, my other colleague, Mr. Shankar and Amrita. So we 4 have been working together for almost 14, 15 years now. And almost all the aspects of bringing the technology from the lab to community or commercial market space, we have experienced that, we have lived through that experience, and we have been trying to learn how to do things better. So this is how we started our activity. So actually, this activity is described in terms of how 4 of us started to work together. Professor Pradeep has been working in the area of water treatment for much longer. He was probably the first person across the world, or first researcher across the world, who found how pesticides can be degraded through use of noble metals such as gold and silver. So he used a specific form of gold and silver nanoparticle which can convert pesticides to amorphous carbon. So that was the first time nanoscale materials were used for purifying drinking water. Post that, we have been looking at removal of other contaminants from water such as arsenic, iron, fluoride, uranium, and other sorts of heavy metals. And this slides captures the various efforts that we have taken in this direction. So these are the contaminants of interest, especially for water technologists. Our key interest is to see how groundwater contaminants could be removed using adsorption material. Adsorption technology is quite old. Like I mentioned to you, water treatment is in practice for past several hundreds of years. However, as we understand the effects of these contaminants on human health, it is becoming very clear that we need to remove contaminants to best possible limit. Right now, the limits are set by WHO, it is set by EPA. In India, it is set by BIS, which is Bureau of Indian Standards. So as we understand that the need to have more and more clean water is becoming obvious to various stakeholders, it is also important that technology should undergo a dramatic transformation. Technology should improve, technology should deliver better quality water at much more affordable rates. And this is where nanoscale materials play a very differentiating role. So we have presence of arsenic, heavy metals, microorganisms, fluoride, pesticides. All of these contaminants are found in groundwater. And over the period of last 10 years, we have perfected the solution for all these contaminants for their effective removal from the groundwater and delivering good quality water to the people. So these are done using nanoscale material, which we have developed in the lab. I'll just briefly give you a glimpse of what these materials are. So nanoscale materials are essentially the materials which we make from a bottom-up approach. So we start with ions, or we start with, you can say that ionic level species, and then we convert, depending on whether we are looking for metal oxide or we are looking for metal nanoparticle, we take them to nanoscale size, and they are deeply embedded inside a matrix through which they do not undergo further transformation to micron size particle. It also, so the concept of embedding them inside a matrix was to also make sure that nanoparticles don't leach out in any situation. So that's why we embed them into a matrix. And these are the kind of properties which you can observe. So for example, when you reduce the size, you see a dramatic increase in the surface area. This is what is shown in the left corner of the slide. And when you have nanoparticles, you can see several properties into the material which are very unique. For example, metal nanoparticles, they start exhibiting luminescence when they become very small in size. Here you are on the right side, you are looking at a matrix in which nanoparticles have been embedded, and we have used these kind of matrix to remove contaminants from water. So to give you an example, this is how a typical production of nanoparticle of relevance, which we use for water treatment. This is how we do it, that there is a matrix in which we start with ions such as, for example, we are starting with aluminium ion. So when you have aluminium ion and then you precipitate it, you form a certain layered kind of nanoparticles, which get embedded inside this large size matrix. And these are fairly well embedded. So we do not see leaching of these nanoparticles under regular operating conditions. For example, in a pH range of 4 to 10, we do not see any form of leaching of these materials into the water, either in the colloidal form or in the ionic form. And this is what you see on the right side, the right bottom, you see how these nanoparticles are embedded inside the matrix. And these are materials which are extremely strong. They are made using processes which are completely green. There is no use of high temperature sintering. There is no use of any form of polymers such as ion exchange resins. These are all natural material that we use, and they are very, very stable in water. For 5 years, we have been using them. Absolutely no degradation which is observed in these materials. So this is a first product which Professor Pradeep had worked on for removal of pesticides from water. And the right one is the photograph of the unit, which was launched in 2007. And this was probably the first plant in the country where nanomaterials were made. This is way back in 2007. So these are some more technical representations of how the material looks like at a micron level. When you go to the nanoscale, how does this material look like? And there are fairly detailed studies which are conducted to understand how arsenic adsorption happens, what is the capacity, in what form of complexes are formed. So these are the studies which are conducted in a very, very detailed scientific manner. It is done in Pradeep sir's lab. It is also conducted in the laboratory that we have with hydromaterials. We are also continuing to evolve, continuing to make our materials become more efficient. We also study how new contaminants of interest could be removed from groundwater. So this is another technology which is used for removal of salts from water, which Pradeep sir has been working on. But our interest is more on the groundwater removal. But this is based on use of electrode-based concept, nanoscale materials which are coated on electrodes to remove salts from water. These are some further detailed studies which have been done. So these are the various types of product which we have implemented. This is an household unit which is provided to households in a rural area who have water quality effect, who are living in a water quality affected areas. So in case they do not have access to clean water, they do not have access to regular supply of water, as a primary measure, they are provided with household filters so that at least they can get clean water. There are other units which are the second unit which you see, that is for providing water to schools, water to medical centers which are having their own water source, but they do not have access to clean water. The third one is providing the clean water to small communities. Third and fourth one is for providing water to the small communities. So there is a small video which I'll just play out to give you a glimpse of the efforts that we have done to provide clean water in a state of Punjab, which is a northern state in India. So it will give you a glimpse of the nature of work that has been done.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this is a larger size plant which has been set up. This is providing about 1 meter cube, 1 million liters of water per day, the plant on the left side. So this is provided in a multi-village scheme where you have about 5 villages where supply is done through a centrally set up scheme. The one on the right side, this is a plant which is providing about 200 meter cube per day. So 200 meter cube is about 0.2 million liters per day. So we have set up about 200 or more plants now. So this is how the transformation has happened in terms of how advancement of technology can reduce the footprint of a treatment plant. This is how the treatment plant were being set up way back in 2010 and 15 in various states of country. And we have been able to reduce the size of the treatment plant by using nanoscale material. So this slides gives you an idea of how the size of the plant reduces when you use more efficient material. Both the sites are very close to each other. It's in another state of India called West Bengal. So the plant on the left side, this is located in one of the districts there. And when the government there asked us to provide a treatment plant, which was having for a groundwater supply scheme where arsenic was found. So we had set up a plant which is also working for now about 8 years, and clean water is being delivered. So we have also done further innovation to look at how these treatment plants can be monitored more rigorously. So the improvements which we have brought into the to rural environment is first monitoring what is the quantity of water that is being supplied, what is the pressure, what is the concentration of chlorine which is present, making these schemes become automatic so that the supply can be done at a pre-scheduled time. So those are the further innovations which we are adding to our overall water treatment portfolio to make sure that our work delivers clean water to the people in a sustainable and dependable manner. So there are various schemes that have been set up of similar kind. This is how the schematic looks like for the treatment plant. You have a pump house from which the regular water supply is being done on a regular basis. Water goes to the reservoir from where it is supplied to the villages. What we did, we set up a treatment plant in between so as to make sure. So this is how the treatment process looks like for a scheme which is in arsenic affected area. There is an oxidation which is done to convert dissolved iron to colloidal form. And then we have a nanoscale material which is very unique in terms of its characteristics, because it removes iron through adsorption process. The colloidal iron is removed through the process of adsorption instead of filtration, which is how traditionally it was done. So we remove iron through the adsorption process, followed by arsenic removal. And in case there are any other residual contaminants which are left out, for example, excess chlorine, or there is any form of colloidal particles, then they are removed through the polisher unit. So we are also doing a lot of implementation of automation in our treatment plants. So for example, like I mentioned to you, we are monitoring the quality of water, we are monitoring the quantity of water which is being provided to the people. We are also seeing that how much of what is the time duration for which scheme is being on, what is the time duration for which scheme is off. So all those parameters are being regularly monitored through a central dashboard, and then we are providing messages to the stakeholders such as engineers. We are providing messages to the pump operators. We are providing messages to various beneficiaries to know that how these schemes are running. They're also being contacted through our dashboard. I mean, there is a call center through which these beneficiaries are being regularly contacted to know how has been the utilization of the scheme, whether they are happy with the water quality or whether there are any challenges that they are facing. So this is how a typical dashboard looks like, where you are monitoring how many schemes are being run on a daily basis, how many schemes are facing issues, how many schemes are currently being backwashed. So all those parameters are have been integrated into a central dashboard, and they are being monitored. So there are various dignitaries who have been visiting us from across the country, across the world, looking at how these schemes are having an impact on life of people in the rural areas. So in summary, what we have done is that last 10-15 years of our evolution, we have been looking at how we can develop advanced technologies in the laboratory, take it to the marketplace. And this, we have been repeating these steps for various technologies, not only for iron and arsenic. Now we have implemented a technology for removal of uranium from water. We have also implemented projects for removal of fluoride from water, and continuing to work on new contaminants of interest and see that how they can be taken from the lab scale to the commercial scale. So our current in our current scheme of things, we have when we started our journey way back almost 15 years back, we were looking at the development of new materials. Subsequently, we started to work on how to manufacture these materials at large scale. We started with small scale plants, then going to the bigger scale plants. And now we are looking at setting up ultra large size plants, which can provide water to a city, or which can provide water to through a multi-village water supply schemes. And we are also bringing in a lot of automation into the picture so that the schemes can be monitored on a regular basis. So these are the states where we are currently working with various stakeholders, but largely our focus is on rural part of the country, which is where the clean water supply is being, the infrastructure is being set up right now. There are various recognitions that have been done. So this is just a summary of that. So in case any of you would like to contact us, so these are our contact details. And thank you so much for your time. In case you have any questions, we'll be very happy to answer those.